I want to share how mobile apps work with all our clients and our fellow engineers as well. So let's start with some basic introduction about me. Uh, my name is Ant. I'm from NFQ, Thailand. I'm from the Bangkok office. I'm a senior Android engineer. I'm from Myanmar. Uh, so just like all other engineers, I start my day with some coffee, and then some coding, and then end it with some beer. So I'm hoping for some beer after this. My main focus is on Android, and I have some background in Python Django and Ruby on Rails in the backend area. I do some web frontend with Angular, and right now I'm working on Flutter with one of our clients through Profile. So let's talk about why mobile apps. Why don't we just use mobile web? We have web engineers already. So in the audience, everyone here today, how many of you do not have a smartphone? Raise your hand. Peter, really? Okay, I was hoping for some exercise from you guys because everyone looks sleepy after lunch, but nobody got to raise their hand. So, okay, does that make sense to you? Why mobile apps? So let's talk about some data and details. So by the end of 2022, most of the web traffic, the internet traffic, is coming from mobile, almost 60%. That much is coming just from mobile, not like PC, desktop, web. People don't use that all too much. We use this as tech people, but usually normal people, mobile phones are they usually go in more data. So in 2022, in a total global population of 7.9 billion, there's 6.65 billion mobile users, smartphone users, and it's unique users. And we're not even counting the number of smartphones because it will be even higher because some of us has 2 smartphones with us, especially business people who has their work phone, personal phone, maybe a side girl phone, maybe, I don't know. So why is there more traffic in mobile? Because we have everything in our hand with a mobile phone. We have a camera, we have a GPS, we have compass. We can make calls, we can connect with everyone, we have notifications. That is how business stay connected with their users, push notifications. An average person checks their phone 96 times a day. I already see some people checking their phone already. So I guess that proves the point. But this is how we keep checking our phone, because every time we hear a ding, we're like, oh, we really, like, it's bad. We just want to see it. Like, who is it? Is it Facebook, Instagram? Did your mom send you a message? Is it some sort of product suggestion from Shopee, Lazada, Amazon, whatever, right? Push notifications are really powerful. This is one of the top reasons why businesses have a mobile app, to stay connected with their users at almost all time. Like, we can drive user retention back to our app using push notifications. If a user hasn't been opening, maybe we have a mobile app, they have been using it in like a few weeks, we can send a push notification. And it's better than email, right? Because these app emails are organized, and like emails, push notifications, we have organized stuff in our mobile app. Like, this is from Facebook, this is from Instagram, YouTube, stuff like that. And with mobile phones, we can also utilize device hardware. So these are things that is just not easy to have in like desktop apps or web apps, because we can utilize Bluetooth, NFC, Google, not Maps, GPS in general, camera, these hardware stuff that is usually only possible with mobile devices. These hardwares are also available externally, not just on mobile, but how do we pair it with a web page or a desktop app? It's hard, right? But with a mobile phone, everything's already included, ready to use. And also easier login and payments as well. So log in with your face, with your fingerprint, very easy. Payment authorization, you don't want to like put your credit card number in a shady website every time. Like, that's just weird, right? So this makes it a lot safer in mobile phones, especially with in-app purchases, because the payments go through either Google Play Store or Apple App Store. You just need to like double-click your power button, show your face, and you know that it's safe because if something went wrong, you can just call Apple, get their support, and get refunded. It's safer. And also another cool thing about mobile apps is deep linking. So deep linking is something that mobile apps and web apps, that is how they work together. So in this example, I have a screen recording of searching for Instagram Taylor Swift, because I'm a Taylor Swift fan. So let's look at this. So you see that, let me pause right here. This is a Google search. I search Taylor Swift. I see an Instagram website link. I click it. It opens what? The Instagram app, not the Instagram web page. It shows the app. And that is how deep linking works. It works kind of similar in so many different other products as well. For example, banking, right? For example, in Thailand, we have apps that connect directly to our mobile banking apps as well. Things like that, only available in mobile. And this is very awesome because it keeps your user in your app. For example, if I share a Facebook post with you guys, I send you a link, you click it, you get into the Facebook app. So whenever I share a post, I'm using the app. And whoever views the post using the app, it's good for user retention as well. And it also works like if you click it, and if you don't have the app, we can go to the Play Store or App Store to allow the user to see that we have a mobile app and get them to download right away. And another thing is offline availability. So with mobile apps, because we can just cache basically a lot of data on our device, we can cache whatever data that should be shown offline, which is very hard with web apps because it's the web and you need to stay connected. This makes a lot of sense if you have, like, for example, Google Drive. You will see that you can cache them file so that even if you are offline and you need to check some maybe PDFs, photos, you can still view them. So that is very useful in mobile apps as well. So should all businesses have a mobile app? Or more importantly, should your business or product should have a mobile app first or a web app first? So this is Google Slides. And this is very useful. Lots of apps use this. Project managers use this. Accountants use this. Very useful. We can see data. We can manipulate data. We can calculate data. Lots of things. Very useful. And Google Slides, because it's on the web, you can access it from anywhere, basically. But would you use this? It's the same sheet, but you don't see a lot. And imagine editing like 10 or 11 cells of data with this tiny keyboard. No, right? So doesn't really make sense to have mobile apps everywhere. But still, Google Slides have a mobile app. That is how I can show you guys this. Because it's still useful to have the ability to like view your data on the fly sometimes. Although you don't want to edit on it, it's good to have the option to view it. But if you were starting a product about the sheets and Excel kind of things, you probably want to start with web or a desktop app. So mobile apps, it doesn't always make sense. What they make sense in is apps like Instagram, Spotify, that you use a lot on your phone, but not on your desktop or web. So we know that when we can decide now that if our business needs a mobile app or start with a mobile app. So let's say we are going mobile. We have a business, we want to go mobile. Where do we start? Android or Apple? Which user do we support? Or do we support both? So Apple versus Android is always ongoing kind of battle between the companies, between the users. Can I have a show of hand from iPhone users? Oh, a lot. Okay. Android users. Okay, Sam has 2 hands. They mean they have both, I guess. I guess that is not your side chick. Okay, so you know how we call people who are like Apple fans? Sheep. Because they are just sheep following blindly. No, just kidding, just kidding. The ecosystem is pretty good, so we stay in there. So what do we call Android users? They're poor. No, just kidding, just kidding. I'm an Android engineer. Android users are the people who are feeding me, so this is a joke, clearly. So let's get into some data. So in the user account side of things, Android actually kills iOS. Because like I said, Android is kind of cheap. Not all devices are cheap, but there's options, lots of options. And especially in Asia, there's a lot of Android users. And also there's a lot of vendors. That also helps with the user count. So however, just based on this, we cannot decide we should just make an Android app because we will have more users. Because in terms of revenue, from App Store and Play Store purchases, although there are less iOS users all over the world, the spending is like almost double of Android. So that proves the point that Android users are poor. No, just kidding, just kidding. No, just kidding. But still, if you want more revenue, so iOS seems like a good choice. But it's not all about money and user count and revenue. It's all about everything in a business. So usually with companies having how many users, the user count is also a very important thing, and revenue also a very important thing. So usually the correct choice is having both Android and iOS apps. It's the best choice, basically, because otherwise I'll start a fight between Android and iOS engineers. So, okay, let's say we've decided we want both apps. How do we start a mobile project? So we need to make another choice. We are doing both apps, so do we want native apps or cross-platform apps? So with native apps, that means we will have a separate code base for Android in Kotlin, and we'll have a separate iOS app in Swift or Objective-C, but more of Swift lately. But with cross-platform, we have one code base, 2 apps, both apps, in either Flutter or React Native. They are the most popular ones at the moment. So how do we choose? Should we go native? Should we go cross-platform? That also depends on your business. So does your business or does your product needs to utilize a lot of hardware power? Does your app needs to use AR or AI features? Does it use a lot of image processing? Those kind of apps usually should go with native approach because that means We're using the native SDKs provided by Apple and Google, and that means way better performance always. Native apps will always perform better than a cross-platform app. But that is not the case for every product. For example, since we have a lot of e-commerce clients, for example, online shopping apps like Lazada, Shopee. A good example is Alibaba, which is entirely written in Flutter. Because there's no a lot of hardware utilization with these apps. They are not showing like cool face effects on your face or anything. They are just trying to sell you a product. So it makes sense to go with cross-platform in these cases. And another thing is team size. So from the cost perspective of the product, usually with native apps, you need a bigger team size. Because with a medium-sized app, you need about 2 Android engineers, 2 iOS engineers, and some designers, QA, QC. So bigger team size. But with cross-platform, you can have 2 Flutter engineers or 2 React Native engineers and be done with it. And also, because you're maintaining the same code base, it's far less effort than doing 2 different native apps. And another thing is that although it seems like more cost-effective to go with cross-platform, not a lot of cross-platform the engineers are widely available because it's relatively new compared to native stuff, right? So you can find more native Android and native iOS engineers more widely than like Flutter engineers. Like if you try to hire a senior Flutter engineer right now, good luck. We tried, very hard to find. The next thing is time to market. Because with cross-platform apps, we're maintaining one code base, and we can iterate really fast. The time to market is a lot faster compared to native apps, where we have to maintain 2 code bases and do QA, QC process on 2 different apps, which may have different features depending on your needs. So time to market is a lot faster with cross-platform apps. And that is why like startups and new companies that want to deliver an MVP app really fast in a short amount of time, they usually go with cross-platform frameworks like Flutter or React Native. So we know that whether should, based on our business need, we want to do cross-platform or native, right? So I'm here to present you with an example app. This might sound a bit stupid, but it's just for the sake of the presentation. It's not a real app. So the app name is Blobla. What it does, it delivers boba. That's all. So you can customize your boba, and you can order it. So basically, I clone Foodpanda, but I only sell boba. That's all. So just like any other software or like web app, we break everything down into features and mobile development as well. So we have authentication, which will have email password, or we can have social authentication like Google, Facebook, and Apple login as well. We will have a home page where we can choose our favorite boba. It will also show some banners and promotions. And in the middle, there's a fun thing we added. It will track your calories based on your orders. If you order too much and you're not burning enough calorie, we will send you a push notification. It will say you're fat. So drink less, or if you're not drinking enough, drink more. So there's a push notification feature that we can utilize. So we can order and customize like low sugar, high sugar, what are the toppings, stuff like that, and shake to confirm your order. So this is something that we can only have with mobile apps, because if you want to order a boba with a laptop, a web application, and can you shake your laptop? No, right? Right? 0 web engineers, 1 mobile engineers. So we win. Okay, we can shake our phone. Good luck checking your PCs. And we can see our order in action. So basically, foodpanda clone as well. And then we have also referral. So share the app, share this experience, get a free boba. We utilize deep linking in this. So for example, you will see that in the download link, in the download link, there's web URL. So we're a mobile app, why do we need a web URL? So because if we integrate deep linking, if a user clicks the link, we can directly open the app if the user has the app, or we can display them the App Store or Play Store install page where we can attract users. So that is a great business value. And also we can send promotions to them with push notification features like promotions, new boba releases, or like if you are drinking too much, it says you are fat, and if you are not drinking enough, it asks you to drink, buy a drink this week, something like that. So let's talk a bit about the architecture, how we architecture a mobile app. So this is usually what Android apps will have, native apps. We use a clean architecture approach. We break down into modules, and usually with web technologies, we use like MVC, model view controller, model view interactor, MVP, things like that. In the mobile world, the most popular one is MVVM. MVVM. M is for model, V is for view, and the VM is for view model. So the view and the view model lives in the presentation layer, and the model part is the domain and the data modules. It's basically a clean architecture approach. We will have network and local data, which we can use for caching with a repository pattern. And then in the domain layer, we will have use cases. We will also usually have data mappers. For example, we will have, to display data, we will have data models. They will be models from the network calls, the JSON responses. They will be converted into models. And in the domain level, we will usually convert it back into a domain level because we want to manipulate the data into a format that is usable for mobile. So this is the basic architecture that is usually used in mobile apps, both Android and iOS. Practically, basically the same. A bit different with cross-platform apps because with Flutter, usually go MVC approach. And with React Native, it's JavaScript, so I don't know. I hate JavaScript. And so how a mobile app connects is usually basically the same with a web front-end. So we will usually have connected to our backend services. And we will have third-party authentications like Facebook, Google, Apple. And for analytics and like logs and crash and stuff, we don't have DevOps for mobile people, right? So what we have is Firebase. We have Firebase analytics to analyze and keep track of events, like the user has clicked a button or the user navigated to a screen. And we also have Crashlytics, which will report the crash reports of users and in details, like they click which button and the code crash on which line number, exactly at that point. Very powerful. And we also have cloud messaging. Firebase cloud messaging is used for push notification that is used both for Android and iOS, extremely useful. Or if we want to do a serverless approach, usually people go with either Firebase or I think Amazon has Amplify, I guess. So tools like that can be used to have a serverless and like almost zero backend code mobile app. Usually Firebase is the popular choice. Amazon Amplify is an option as well. In that case, we will lose this backend section. We will only have Firebase. And if we have social authentications, these will be there. So because mobile is just another framework, how we build and deploy a mobile app is very similar to backend or frontend or every other web apps, right? So with CI/CD pipelines, we have like everyone, anything can be built on Jenkins, right? So we can build on Jenkins as well. Circle, CI, GitLab Actions, everything, right? But usually we also have mobile-specific CI/CD tools. Mobile-specific CI/CD tools are tools like Bitrise and CodeMagic, which has specific tools to make the mobile development and build process faster. Because with mobile apps, we also have to maintain the SDK versions of, if you are building an Android app, Android SDKs, with iOS apps, iOS SDKs, and moreover, if you want to build an iOS app, you need Mac OS, and Mac OS servers are expensive. So we need to manage Mac servers if we want to build iOS apps. Usually with cross-platform apps like Flutter and React Native, we just have one Mac OS server and we build everything on it. So basically, the rest is the same. We just git clone, install app.get SDKs, blah, blah, blah. Download certificates and profiles. That is something that will be different from web technologies as well, because we need to sign our apps. For Android, we need to sign with our key stores, iOS apps, profiles and certificates provided by Apple to make sure that this is an authorized app that you can download, that you can trust. And we can build it, we unit test it, we sign it, and then we distribute. Now, distribution is another difference with web technologies, right? With web apps, we deploy directly to our own servers. Everything's up and running, okay, but with mobile apps, we have to deploy to either Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, which is a pain in the ass, by the way. Especially with App Store, I will describe that later. And we can also distribute internally for QA/QC process, or if it's an internal app that can only be used by internal people. For example, companies like Facebook and Google have apps that can only be used internally. We can have, for that kind of thing, we can have an enterprise certificate and release it only internally. For example, we can have an HR app for NFQ that is only available to NFQ users, not on the Play Store or App Store, things like that. So for those deployment things, a little bit different than web technologies. Other than that, basically all the same. We do unit tests. We have test coverage tools like SonarQube as well. And if we want to build, we can build on Jenkins. So basically the same. We can share the build server as well. So we know that we can build a mobile app. How we can build a mobile app? I want to share some key takeaways and some quirky stuff of mobile apps. The first one, Android users, you know that. If you have a device from China region, like Huawei devices, no Google Play Store, that sucks, right? And also, if you live in China, you are blocked from using Google services and Facebook services, which makes it a bit tricky to utilize Firebase tools, because Firebase is from Google, and everything is blocked in China, so you will not receive notifications. You will not, we cannot track with analytics. So for China region, we have to use Huawei cloud services, which is also very painful to work with. And there's too many devices and too many vendors. So for mobile app, as a mobile app engineer, we have to support as much devices as we can. And there's too much, like Samsung, Huawei, LG, I think, Xiaomi, and now we have folding phones, and folding phones that fold vertically and horizontally. We have to adjust everything to these screen sizes for our mobile apps to function properly. There's a lot of devices to adjust in Android, especially. iPhones have just iPhones, so very easy to handle. And nobody has their phone. Android users, especially, you know, right? Except Pixel users, maybe. I see some Pixels in the office yesterday, but yeah, nobody updates their phone. Actually, not just the users, also the vendors do not provide updates regularly. So it's hard to work with because we have to target which version, which SDK to build with for our mobile apps. And we have, for Android apps, we have to target really, really low. Like we have to support really old devices to at least cover like 95% of Android users, because we want to reach our app to as much users as possible. And now the Apple stuff. No Mac, no app. If you are poor, you cannot be an iOS engineer because you need a Mac just to learn how to do iOS. And let's say you have a Mac now. What do you need to run it? An iPhone. And then you have an app. You want to deploy it on the App Store. You know what Apple does? They will charge you $100 per year to use their App Store. Doesn't matter if your app is free or paid, you have to pay $100 per year. And if you are enterprise, it's like $300 or $400, even more. Yeah. And Apple is she's like a jealous girlfriend. So if you have Google login in your app, and if you don't have Apple login, Apple will reject your app from their App Store, because Apple is petty and yeah, very jealous. And app release is hard because of those kind of rejections. They will go through your app in details. Whenever you submit a release or an update, they will go through it, and if they find something that they don't like, they will send you an email, they will reject your app, they will make you fix it. Doesn't matter if you want to fix it or not, because it's Apple, right? So usually during your first iOS app release, it's like 2 or 3 weeks of email back and forth, very annoying. And yep, that's all of it. I hope you all understand some more about mobile apps. There was no code, so that probably prevented you guys from falling asleep. Thank you. Any questions? Thank you.
With the features that you have now with PWAs, would you still say make the app or go for the PWA? Because you save the Mac, and you also have like a website and an app in one.
I love PWAs. So like I said, I also have some Angular experience. I do some web development as well. I try PWAs. PWAs are awesome, but let's be realistic. How many of you do you really use PWAs? Just you? Oh, I expected more. But yeah, PWAs are awesome. But yeah, in realism, not a lot of people uses it. Not a lot of people. Usually, they don't just. It's like we click bookmark or save the web page on our home screen, right? Yeah, people would rather just download from the App Store. Yeah. Any more?
Well, I guess that's it. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you, everyone. You guys.